JR Global presents Leadership Under the Microscope. In this program, we will discuss current topics about staying relevant in an interconnected world. Through observation and conversations, we invite you to think with us and participate in a civil dialogue. Here is your host, J.R. Klein.
Thank you for joining me today. I'm eager to think with you about how the world works. In this episode, we think about the oft-neglected consideration of local communities in a global world. As technology becomes the great equalizer, local communities must adjust their strategy to retain relevance. Today, we examine local globalism. If I were king of the forest. Those of us who have been alive during the second half of the 20th century recognize the refrain of the cowardly lion in The Wizard of Oz. His assessment of his own situation led him to a conclusion which, regardless of its basis in fact, became, for him, reality. His lack of confidence created its own barriers. The influence of globalization on local communities driven by dramatic changes is not one of those blinding flashes of the obvious that seems to sneak up on us, but is somewhat predictable. The topic of how local businesses react to these changes is a question to be placed in the middle of the land of Oz. Because of the glitz and glamour of the global concept, many times thinking about local communities is neglected. Advances in technology have led to a current global grid driven by one thing: information. Now, the primary mission of business is to provide solutions, and this technology explosion has provided opportunities and market applications for those solutions. Local businesses now have an opportunity to move beyond their restricted geography of the past into the global arena with the use of technology. A local store in the remote village in Kentucky has the same opportunity as a large store in London to access global customers. It can be exciting times for local businesses if they use technology to their advantage. The greatest danger to the viability of local communities is not globalization, but a retreat into isolationism and protectionism. In the global economy, those people and organizations that are isolated and cut off are at an extreme disadvantage. Ironically, the best way for communities to preserve their local control is to become more competitive globally. Oh, welcome, pure-eyed faith, white-handed hope, thou hovering angel girt with golden wings. This John Milton poetic statement about hope and faith is well taken. However, hope and good attitudes are not enough. In local communities, workers' skills must meet international standards. Communities must have visionary leadership, a friendly business climate, a commitment to training, and a spirit of collaboration among businesses and between businesses and local governments. They must pay attention to strengthening local existing businesses. It is impossible to sustain sleepy local companies in an environment in which world-class companies come looking for better technology and skills. The importance of local leadership in establishing communities that are conducive, attractive, and collaborative cannot be overstated. The effect of globalization on multinationals and on local businesses is changing everything. Local communities can leverage global opportunity in a changing world, but it is more than bricks and mortar. Bricks and mortar are becoming subservient to technology. The next blinding flash of the obvious is the egalitarian nature of change. Thinking about strengthening local communities in a global marketplace is the everyone and anywhere equation. Global and local businesses must begin to think differently about their role. Local communities must determine how best to connect to the world markets and how to create a civic culture that will attract, create, and retain globally minded businesses. In a world that is driven by local economies, the best way for communities to preserve their local control and remain relevant is to become more competitive. That means in this rendition of business and macroeconomics, they must be global in thought and practice. They must become the kings of the forest.
Thank you for listening. If you are a leader or are just looking for solutions, JR Global Associates can help you strategize, analyze, implement, and evaluate to achieve positive results. Simply contact us by visiting jrglobal.co and get a head start on success.